Hey everybody, Mindy from Quilting Mayhem. Welcome back to another Kona block of the month. We're on to September. Now you do need to pay attention to this one because it's not just your regular all half square triangles made the same way. There is actually two different techniques and I have had it throw people off in the past. So you are going to start with the regular one. So line down the middle and then that 1/4 inch on either side of the line. All right, so that is a majority of them. But there are going to be 4 sets where you are going to draw the line down the middle, but you're going to sew on that line. All right, so we'll show you here. It is actually sewn on that line. And then you're going to trim your 1/4 inch from there. I'll show you kind of what it looks like because this is how they decided to do it. So once you trim it, it will look like this, which is different because the other ones, remember, you're cutting down the middle instead of on the line. So if you're sewing a 1/4 inch from either line, you're going to actually have them where they look like true triangles. The ones where you're sewing on the line, you're only going to get one half square triangle for these. These ones you get 2. These ones you only get 1. All right, so you're only going to get 4 separate half square triangles that are 2 colors. Okay, solid colors, where the other ones are a background and a color. All right, so there is a difference. Make sure for these ones you're going to pull, I believe it's 8 squares, sew on the line, and you're going to end up with only 4 of these that are essentially a 2 different color half square triangle. Okay, that is the big difference. If you go crazy and turn the pieces that you cut off into other little half square triangles for something else, go for it, have fun, use it for whatever. All right, and then what will happen is we're going to make 2 different units. All right, so unit 1 is going to use 1 of each of the 2 color half square triangles, and then 2 of the half square triangles that are a background and a color, and then a solid square. All right, so this is just your basic 4 patch, but you're using 2 that are the half square triangle with background and 1 of that 2-tone. All right, and then what will happen is you're going to make 4 that are half square triangles with background that you're going to turn into kind of like a flying geese, where you're going to have that color in the middle, these, and then there's a rectangle that you cut that you're going to put on top, whatever color your background is. All right, so these are the 2 units we're going to make. One is essentially assembled like a 4 patch, and this is just make that geese and put that rectangle on top. So still a fairly easy block to do. Just it's a little different, and really the trickiest part is making sure that this unit that you're making, you're sewing on that line, not on 1/4 inch away from the line on either side. All right, that's the biggest difference. Make sure you're trimming your blocks, all those kinds of things, so that everything turns out nice and pretty and square the way it should. All right, so I'll get things caught up and we'll lay it out and show you what it looks like. All right, as always, I don't have a lot of room, but the key is just kind of laying things out. So you'll notice that you have these kind of flying geese triangles that are going to go around your center square, and then you have your corner units. All right, so then this corner unit, you just make sure that you're going to put these 2 right sides together. Sew that 1/4 inch seam, press them open, and then you're going to put these together. These, you're going to sew those 2 together and then sew that on. So I'll show you what this starts to look like. Now, the important piece when you're putting these units together, or any 4 patch, is that you are going to pin that center. So match up those seams, pin them. If you are new to sewing, I do recommend that you match up these corners and pin them so they behave. All right, of course, if you've been quilting a while, you know how to make sure to keep them lined up, but you don't want them shifting in like it's trying to do here, because that's how you get a block that's not necessarily straight down the sides. So if you're new and you're worried about it, just drop a pin in that outside. It's usually easier to start here nice and straight, but this is where it starts to get usually out of control. So we're going to go put it together. All right, so that's what that corner unit's going to look like. You're going to make 4 of those. And then you're going to make 4 of these guys. So put that half square triangle unit together like flying geese. Take that rectangle, put it on top. If you're a beginner, pin your beginning and end, because that's what's most important, is you want to keep these nice and square. Otherwise, you know, if you've been doing this a while, this is easy peasy. And you're going to sew that line, and then that way, when you're done, will look like that unit. All right, so make all your pieces and parts, then we'll be back to put it together. All right, we're getting towards the end. So now we have all our units made. We're going to start putting them together. Remember to pin where those joins are. And what I start doing is putting them together in rows. So I'll do across and then put your tops to the middle, bottom to the middle, and you'll be done. So pin that join, sew your 1/4 inch seam. This one, thankfully, is just a plain square in the middle. So this one, you'll just line up, sew that 1/4 inch seam, and then bottom. And this is how I get it done a little more quickly, is by doing it in rows this way. Now, if you're a beginner and you're worried about switching things around, mixing it up, feel free. Do 1 and 2 and 3 together first, and then just kind of keep going row by row. All right, but we're almost there. All right, rows are together. Now we're just going to start getting that final assembly done. Like I said, grab some pins. This is where you're going to have the most pins, because you do need to match at every seam. This will get you a block that is nice and straight. Your joins will look good, because if they don't match in the middle, but even if the edges match, it just doesn't look quite right. You don't need those judgy quilters looking at your block, making comments. Even though I always say there's no quilt police, don't worry about it. Like, don't stress if they don't meet up exactly. But we want to make sure that we are quilting with purpose of wanting to make it look good and straight. So, and once again, because this doesn't have a seam in the middle, you're just going to make sure it all lines up nice and pretty when you get to that point. We're going to do our 1/4 inch seam. Then you press this side open. And then you're just going to do the same. You're going to pin this side on, sew it with a 1/4 inch seam, press it, and your block is done. We'll show you what it looks like. All right, everybody. Look at it. It's so pretty. There you go. September's block. It reminds me of kind of like cut glass, those kinds of things. So I do love that block. I hope you've really enjoyed it. As always, you can turn this block into its own quilt, or of course, you know, save it for its partners. We still have 3 more left to go. So hopefully this was not stressful. We got it all together. If you had any problems, as always, please reach out to me, email me, call me, come to the store, any of those kinds of things. I want to help you through it. I want to make sure that you're happy, you get these blocks done. And in the end, we're going to have a beautiful, beautiful quilt of all the Kona colors. So I hope you have a lovely day and keep on stitching.